Well, welcome back, everybody. This is Pucks from the Pine Tree Pod. I'm your host, Benjamin Kennedy. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am absolutely delighted to welcome an owner of the Maine Mariners, Mr. Dexter Paine, here to the show. Second time we've had the chance to do this, but first time here on this channel. Dexter, welcome in.
Ben, thank you very much. Happy New Year. I've been wanting to ask, what was your son's favorite Christmas gift before we get
Oh,
going?
ho, 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 ho. A lot of choices. I think it was probably the Hot Wheels motorized set that I got him, or Santa got him, I should say. Um, it's like a $50 set, but the thing, has the loop-de-loops in it. You can put multiple cars in, they crash, and I think that was probably his favorite. But like every day of the vacation, we were opening up something new and had some new toys. So yeah, at 4, that's a magical year for Christmas. Um, so thankful for him because otherwise it can be kind of miserable. so so
Well,
that
I'm
was good.
glad. I'm glad he got what he wanted. Hopefully, he got a little Maine Mariners gear somewhere in the presents as well.
We had a couple things in there, so I still need to get him a jersey, but we've got a hat and a T-shirt and things like that. I think he actually got a jersey one of the games we went to, one of the giveaways. So
Yeah.
yeah, so we're adding to the assortment. But for you, how was the holiday for you?
Holiday was very good. We had 24 family members with us for 10 days. Everyone has now left, and so things have quieted down a bit, but it's always great to get family together, and it was good to see everyone. We really had a good time. So looking forward to getting back to the office tomorrow, but had a really enjoyable holiday.
Now, I don't know you that well, but I imagine you found yourself on the slopes someplace during the break.
I did. I spent a fair amount of time skiing,
Good.
and it was the snow was good and the weather was reasonably good, which was great.
Nice, nice. Well, very good. Yes, it's yeah, with this weekend coming to an end, yeah, kind of the full-on close of the holiday season. So back to regular life after this. Well, great. Well, obviously, we'll just dive in here. You know the city of Portland very well, obviously, and you came in here with a lot of knowledge about the history of pro hockey, in Portland. First few months of ownership now, have you learned anything new about the city of Portland, the fan base, or anything else that's maybe surprised you to this point?
First of all, I'd like to say that Ben, thank you very much for your continued support of the team and of hockey in Maine. I mean, one of the things I love about your podcast is not just the coverage of the Mariners, which we really appreciate, both the good news and the bad news, and it's been a mixed season so far.
Mhm.
But I also love your following of the Nordiques and of men's and women's hockey in at UMaine. For all of us who are passionate hockey fans in Maine, your podcast is a great way to make sure we're up to speed with what's going on in local hockey. In terms of what I've learned halfway through the season, and at this point we are just about halfway through the season. I think the first thing is the passion of our fans. I mean, having been at many Mariners games, you walk around and people really care about the team, care about hockey in Portland, and want us to win. And I really appreciate that. I, you know, maybe I should have known about that passion before I bought the team, because the reason I bought the team was I was incredibly passionate about it. But the fan base and just their enthusiasm and quite frankly, how friendly they are, has been really a positive part of buying the team and being involved with hockey in Maine. I've really enjoyed it, and I have to say, people have been really forthcoming with advice, feedback, and that's how we're going to get better. So I'd really encourage people to continue to do that. The second thing I'd say is the quality of the team. Adam and his team on the commercial side, Terrence and his team on the hockey ops side, it's really been a great group of people to work with, and I've really enjoyed that. I quite frankly didn't have a lot of interaction with that team prior to buying the Mariners, but it's been a real joy to be able to work with all of them and to see how hard they work uh, to put a quality team on the ice every single game. Um, and then finally, I think the disappointment of losing.
Mm.
It just kills me to lose, and the enjoyment of winning. I guess I thought I'd be a bit of the same kind of fan I am, of the Bruins or of the Red Sox or of the Celtics. But when you own the team, it's a real gut punch when you lose, and, it's a real joy and pleasure when you win. So, um, it's just at a completely different level that I didn't appreciate, but it's been really fun.
Yeah.
It's also been, my wife, my kids are incredibly passionate about it, and it's become just something that our family has really been real and very involved with, and I've enjoyed that as well.
Yeah, nice. It can be a family affair for you, as you said, your wife and your kids, and yeah, it is a very small fan base, but very passionate fan base here in Portland. I've certainly experienced that just in my little bit of time covering the team. Of course, we know you're a hockey fan first, and since the buying the team, curious, who, if anybody, have you met from the hockey world, the NHL community, that's maybe kind of wowed you? Like, oh man, I actually just met XYZ person. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, so the guy that's been just incredible to me, and been very helpful is Danny Bure. He has made himself available to me whenever I want advice. And you'd say, wait a second, he's the guy who's the general manager of the Philadelphia Flyers.
Yeah.
But, like all of us, he's got a real passion around the Mariners. He's
Mm.
the guy who's responsible for bringing the Mariners to Portland. And he still has this incredible passion. And I have to tell you, I will text him with a question and I get a text back in, 5 seconds from
Wow.
him. He's incredibly responsive. And, this is a guy who's running an NHL team and yet still has this incredible passion for the Maine Mariners. The second group, and this has been really fun, has been the ECHL owners. So I knew a couple of the owners beforehand, but there's a real community there, and the ability to pick up the phone and say, what are you hearing about, um, you know, the revenue side of the ECHL, or how are you working with your affiliates? Um, you know, has been very helpful to me. I went down and went to a couple of games in Norfolk over Thanksgiving, um, and the Kavanaughs could not have been better hosts when I was down there. Um, I have known the owner of the Charleston, the South Carolina Stingrays, but the Charleston team really well. And Todd Halloran has been incredibly helpful to me just in, you know, sort of providing advice and lending his experience in owning an ECHL team. So I've really enjoyed being part of that group. We've got our winter meetings, which are actually in Kalamazoo next week, and looking forward to being in Kalamazoo next week. I'm also going to have a chance to go see the team, the Mariners, play on our Midwest tour as well. So that'll be very fun. Hopefully, the weather is a little better than I think it's being this week
I
when we're
was
out there.
I was gonna ask, like, they couldn't send you to, Phoenix or, LA or some Vegas, someplace a little bit
I,
warmer, but I mean Kalamazoo in January, right? I guess.
I asked Adam, if why we can't do the Florida swing as
Right.
part of this, but unfortunately, we don't play in Florida this year. We play in the Midwest, and
Yeah.
we get to do that as part of our um, ECHL meetings as well.
Well, I'm sure Kalamazoo will be lovely. I'm sure it will be.
As long as we
Very
win, I think it'll be okay, Ben.
winning cures so many ills. I'll tell you what. I tell you what. So, of course, moving on back kind of to the city here in Portland, of course, we know we've experienced a number of restaurant closures in the city. And today, there are not many great options around the cross within walking distance. We used to have Bingus Stadium right across the street. That was always great for pre and post game. But talking with fans, many have stated they'd like to see more, food options either in or around the arena. Listen, understanding you don't have ownership of the building, you don't have control over a lot of these pieces, but has there been any internal discussions, around that topic or really around the fan experience in general concerning this?
So we are in the process of extending our lease with the Cross Center. We're working with the county. We've had a number of conversations with Jim Gailey and his team at the county, and we actually have submitted our first proposal to them prior to Christmas. Very much, um, part of standard part of business. It when we bought the team, we knew the lease expired at the end of this year, and we knew we were going to have a discussion. One of the areas that we have been working with the county on is trying to upgrade the fan experience. So we're going to work on providing more options and better options in terms of food. We're going to work on trying to provide some local vendors with the opportunity to sell products, food in the stadium. I mean,
Nice.
Portland is this great food community, and yet, within the stadium today, we don't have any real options that take advantage of the quality and the extent of the Portland sort of food scene. So we're going to be working with Jim Galen and his team on trying to upgrade the food and fan experience as part of renegotiating this lease. Look, I think in terms of surrounding um, opportunities, our focus is really on the arena and really on
Mm,
trying to do what we do in the arena a whole lot better than we've done it in the past. And I think, uh, trying to get a better fan experience, food, security, um, you know, ticket, all of those is something that I'm really focused on. I want people to go in and be treated incredibly well, have very reasonable food options in terms of pricing, be able to take their family there, feel safe, and feel like they've just had a great experience. You know, that's what we're really focused on in renegotiating or negotiating our lease with the county, and trying to look. I'd love feedback from our customers, our season ticket holders. What are the things you'd like to see us do in the stadium that would make that experience better?
great. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. Portland is this huge foodie city. Being able to tap into that, I think, would be great too. And I think it's important for fans to remember that, you have this relationship with the Cross Insurance Arena. A lot of the staff there not part of the Mariners. So it's on kind of there's a relationship that you guys are building with that, whether it be security or, maintenance folks, all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, and look, while we don't own the cross, we also recognize that the interaction there, people don't differentiate between the
Correct.
Mariners and the Cross Center,
Correct.
and so it's up to us to make sure that that experience gets better and that people feel like we're having a positive influence on what happens when they go to a Maine Mariners game.
Great. Great. So theme nights. Had a number of theme nights and jersey nights this year. I was at the game Friday night for the Star Wars night. It was kind of cool, seeing some of the characters and the music and whatnot. But they seem to draw good crowds so far. But how have those been received so far by the fan base?
Look, I think our marketing department has done a really good job. I was at the military appreciation night, which was a sellout, and you know, it just felt great to be there. What our team wore that night, I thought was terrific. Um, having as many veterans um, in the stands as we had, being able to acknowledge them and thank them, is incredibly important. And I've been working a lot with our marketing team and our sales team on how we do more of that. Whether it's honoring teachers or it's saying thank you to our first responders. I think we can use the cross center and our games as a real opportunity to build this community. You and I talked about it the first time. We want the Maine Mariners community to expand, and we think part of that is taking advantage of these theme nights, taking advantage of getting people in there and saying thank you to all the people that make a difference in our lives. It's also needs to be fun as well. I mean, I think Star Wars night, the Charlie Brown night, all of those are really fun nights as well. That you know, I think minor league sports. It's not just about the sports, although for me, winning on the ice is incredibly important.
Sure.
But it's also about the experience, and it's about being able to bring your son and then making sure your son has a great experience and has a great memory being at the game.
Yeah, of course, I brought my kiddo to a game. You were kind enough to come down and say hello to us, so he got to meet you. About 3 minutes after you left, Beacon came through. And I had to apologize. My son was way more excited meeting Beacon than he was meeting you. So it does resonate with the little ones for sure.
Yeah, it is so funny you say that. My kids are now 30, 29, and 27, and they are far more excited to meet Beacon and have their picture taken with Beacon than they are to spend the night with me.
That's
So
awesome.
I don't think that changes at all, Ben, over time. And
Yeah.
by the way, we're really lucky to have a great mascot. And
Yeah.
once again, that is one of our employees, and our beacons do a really great job in terms of making people enjoy being at the game and getting their picture taken. It's that kind of stuff that's so important with the minor league sports.
Oh, 100%. Nail on the head for sure. So turning now to more of the on ice stuff, we know where the team sits today in the standings. Not in seventh place anymore after last night's win, so that's great. But lately, we have witnessed a few games where the energy and the effort that the team's putting out, unfortunately, hasn't matched the results. Take Friday night for example. You know, where does your frustration level sit with when you see, good energy, good effort, and then a loss end of the night?
Yeah. As I mentioned early in this conversation, um, I hate losing, and being 12, 14, and 3 is not where I wanted to be halfway through the season or almost halfway through the season. Um, you know, I think that Terrence has made a number of changes to our team. Um, we have had less support from the Bruins and from Providence than we've expected. That's just the way the ball bounces. Unfortunately, our two best defensemen, Millman and Bavaro, have ended up being, you know, players at the AHL level, and there's nothing we can do about that. That's, look, it's a great opportunity for them. But it certainly has left us with fewer AHL players than we thought we would have at this point. And look, within the league, that varies greatly depending upon an organization's philosophy about, you know, are we at the Maine Mariners in the development business or are we in the winning business? And how do you balance that development piece with winning? Look, on a positive note, we've got Meyer and Bishel, who are both playing really well right now. Last night was just a phenomenal performance by Meyer. And, those are both AHL goalies who, are playing for us. So, we really appreciate what the Bruins are doing. look, it's also a hard situation because the Bruins have traded away a lot of draft choices over time,
Mm,
and so how they balance um,
yeah.
the development versus winning piece at Providence is also challenge. And we'll continue to work really closely with Don Sweeney and Evan Gold and the Providence Bruins in terms of players coming back and forth. And, anytime we get a player from them, we really appreciate it. And, we want to be really good partners with them in terms of being in the development business.
Mhm.
Having said that, I think Terrence has made a number of changes. We've made a number of trades over the last couple of weeks. We've signed a couple of players, um, you know, um, to ECHL contracts who had been in Europe. Um, and I think, you know, while it is a very small data set, you know, we beat 12 Riviere on the 31st. That's a team that's a playoff team. We lost in overtime to Tahoe. Tahoe is a playoff team. We beat Tahoe yesterday. So I feel like we're playing really good hockey against playoff caliber teams right now. And, we actually are no longer in seventh. We actually are very close to being in fourth, which would put us in the playoffs. And we'll continue to make changes that make the team better. And Terrence has, you know, um, the absolute ability to go out and do what he needs to do to make this team better. And, we've traditionally been a better second half team than we have been first half. One of the things I've said to Terrence is we think about next year, we got to think about how do we get ourselves out of the gate faster? We've just
Yeah.
historically not had good starts the last couple of years, and yet we've ended up being in the playoffs. And I'm feeling that same kind of momentum right now. And I think Terrence has made some really good changes to the team. We've also had the injury bug. And
Mhm.
look, every team has injury problems, but we've certainly struggled with injuries this year. So, I actually give Terrence and his team real kudos for being resilient this year and finding ways to win and make the team better that are maybe a little less traditional than getting players assigned to us from the Providence Bruins.
Yeah, and just looking at the standings, Maine has games in hand on Reading. Looks like 4 games in hand and 5 games in hand on Worcester.
Mister,
That's
yeah.
3 points above us. So, yeah, we're in sixth place. But of course, games in hand only mean anything good if you win those games in hand, right? But so it's for as poor of a start as it was, there's still a fighting chance there for the team. Talking about those changes, of course, Coach Wallen was on. I think it was the midday jab, his weekly appearance there, 96.3, and he mentioned it 2 weeks ago. Like people in the room should be uncomfortable. We're making changes, and yeah, he, like you referenced, he's definitely followed up with that. Um, and I do feel, as you said, that we're seeing more complete periods. We're seeing more complete games in terms of effort, in terms of especially I think defensive effort, defensive structure. I think has really improved. At this point, is it just a kind of a continue the process time, or do you expect more moves? I mean, you just said Terrence has the ability to go out and do what he needs to do. Should we expect more moves, in your opinion?
Those Terrence is not only our head coach, he's our general manager, and he
Correct.
has full authority to make the hockey changes that he needs to make. Um, I can just share with you that Terrence is not a patient guy and is not pleased with where we are in the standings right now.
Mhm.
Whether that leads to additional moves, I don't know, but my bet would be that there will be some changes between now and the end of the season as Terrence continues to try to make the team better.
Mhm. And I think we've seen immediate impact with the Patrick Gay, McCallum trade, um, where Patty Gay, clearly a talented kid, just didn't seem to fit here. So I do, as you say, I give Terrence credit for recognizing that, making a move, and not just sitting back. So that's been good, good changes to see.
Yeah, and those moves are hard. Patty Gay was a
Mm,
fourth round draft choice in the NHL
yeah.
draft. There's a kid that clearly has incredible talent. and a great pedigree. But as you said, for whatever reason, just didn't gel in our system or with our team. And I think Terrence went out and, quite frankly, got a better player for us, as well as some additional considerations that I think will have value in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. The one area that really continues to struggle, we did get a power play goal last night, but has been that power play. 15.4% as of this morning. Coach Bean's goal last night. Coach has mentioned in the past that special teams can be such a killer when it's not clicking. Them, go see the Boston Bruins right now, for example. My opinion. You see creativity shot wise, you see plenty of shot generation. I wonder if I mean, are they not getting enough traffic in front of the goalie to make it difficult for that goalie? It seems like the goalie is getting good vision on a lot of those shots. But from your seat, what do you see?
Look, the only thing I can tell you is we need to get better on the power play. There is no
Yeah.
question about it. And I don't think anyone in the organization thinks we are performing at a level we need to be performing. You know, um, we need to be significantly higher in terms of our conversion of power plays opportunities into goals and ultimately into points. And you know, everyone acknowledges that, and Terrence is working really hard. You know, I was thinking about we need our next Justin Brazeau.
Yeah.
As we think about it, that's the type of player I think we need on the power play.
Hmm. Yeah.
Easier said than done.
Easier said than done. Yeah, big physical, sneaky good finish for a big guy. He's been a lot of fun to watch up there.
Absolutely, and I really respect what he's done in Boston, and he's having another great year.
Yeah, he's earned all of it too. He was not
Yeah.
a player that was really on the radar, over the last couple of years. But yeah, great to see what he has done. You've already kind of talked about the rosters and the lack of help from Providence. It's something I watch quite a bit when I'm looking at opposing rosters. How many AHL or NHL contracts are on that team. And to your point, we haven't had probably the help that you or any of us would have expected. Um, and we know that Providence kind of got out of the gate a little bit touch and go. And you had referenced all these years of Boston going all in, trading those first round draft picks, trading away young talent, and of course no Stanley Cups to show for it. It's been an impact. It, I guess I'd want to ask. Do you go knock on the door of Providence, say, "Hey, we could use a hand," or is there any sort of? I know you have communication with them, but we just beholden to what Providence wants to do.
Look, we continue to try to build the relationship with Providence, and I'm new to that relationship. I've met with Don Sweeney, I've met with Evan Gold. Terrence has an continuous conversation with Evan regarding the roster. To be very honest, I just don't think they have a lot of players to lend us right now,
Mm.
and that makes it hard. Very different. Um, you know, roster in some place like Pittsburgh, where you've
Yeah,
seen, Dubois come from Toronto, has, put an incredible number of players into the Wheeling system. And you see the performance that they've had. Um, you know, we will continue to work really hard with both the Boston Bruins and the Providence Bruins. We will take our um, obligation as a development program very seriously, continue to provide, as much support. We appreciate what we do get from them. We'd always want more. But at this point, I think it's incumbent upon Terrence and his coaching staff to make sure that we put a quality team on the ice, regardless of who we're getting from Providence. And that's what we talk about.
yeah,
Um, you know, as Terrence likes to say, the ECHL stands for Ever Changing Hockey League.
yeah,
And, that's one of the things I've learned. I remember the first time I met him, he said that to me. And I thought, geez, I'm not sure I fully understand. Well, 90 days in, I fully understand. And,
You get it.
yeah, absolutely. At one point, I think we got Bavaro for a single game, and then they took him back. And,
Yeah,
that's just the nature of the beast. And you throw injuries on top of that, and you get great stories like Whitmore. I mean,
right.
one of the silver linings to all this is, we had a guy come out last Tuesday and just put on a great performance and a great story uh, after being retired. I don't know, 6 years or something,
Yeah, something
and
like
we
that.
really appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah. I look at the Washington Capitals. You see Hershey, all their success with the Calder Cups, and then of course South Carolina, a team we have played this year. Loaded. All three levels are loaded. I just look at it as an organization from an NHL perspective. That's how you want to build it. Washington right there near the top of the Metro. You got Hershey. I haven't looked lately, but I think they were right near the top of their division. And South Carolina's been a tough team this year. Be lovely to see Boston, Providence, Maine, save some of those draft picks and kind of reload our system here over the next few years.
Yeah, I Todd Halloran, who owns the Charleston team. Um, and has been incredibly helpful to me just in terms of how you build relationships throughout the affiliate organization and the ECHL. Been a really good mentor to me. Was at two games when we played the Stingrays earlier this year. Uh, in those games, um, they had 12 AHL or
Yeah,
NHL contracts on the team, and we had three on the same night.
yeah.
And, it just, as you said, organizations that are very different in terms of the development, but also in terms of what they've done over the last couple of years.
True, true. Well, last question for me, and we're going to open it up to some listener questions. But something we talked about the first time you came on is this Bruins Maine Mariners affiliation, of course, set to expire at the end of the season. Now we know that these announcements tend to happen more in the springtime, but what can you share regarding this?
So Adam and I went and met with Don Sweeney and Evan Gold in October. Um, we laid out a plan for renewing the affiliation agreement. That plan was that we would get them a marked up affiliation agreement, and the markup is things like the name of the team, new name of the team, and things like that. Very basic changes um, by the beginning of the year. We sent them that markup just prior to the Christmas holidays. We expect to hear back from them in January. The relationship continues to be strong. We have no reason to believe that we won't renew the affiliation. We fully intend to renew the affiliation. Um, and that process is just one that will take a bit of time to get through the agreement. Look, my guess is that if you're Don Sweeney and Evan Gold and you're coming off three straight losses on the road, um, you know, the Maine Mariners affiliation agreement may not be at the top of your to-do list right now, and I
Right.
appreciate that.
Sure.
Um, but we have a strong relationship with them. We continue to work really closely with them, and have every reason to believe that we can extend the affiliation agreement. It needs to be done by the end of the season, so we're a bit ahead of schedule in terms of getting our markup to them prior to the Christmas holiday.
Well, that's good to hear. I know fans have some minor anxiety, I think, out there right now. So thank you for addressing that, Dexter. A couple of listener questions, and then we're going to let you go. And I got to get myself over to the arena because we've got a matinee game today.
Hey,
How,
Ben, sorry, just
oh,
one thing before you and I get off of your questions. I just wanted to just let you know that we really have been working on a couple of priorities at the Mariners, and I want to just give people a quick update and use this
please.
opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
Um, One is I had mentioned to you that we're working on putting together a Maine Mariners Foundation.
Hmm.
We've applied for our 501c3 status. We will make an announcement as soon as we get that, but we are very focused on creating a foundation focused on learn to skate and youth hockey in the state of Maine.
Awesome.
And we are looking forward to making an announcement there. And it's a really huge priority for my family and for the Maine Mariners. Second, not only are we working on renewing the affiliation, but we're also looking at extending the lease at the Cross Center. I think both things that will keep the team, in terms of our affiliation, in terms of our location where we are. And those are two really important projects that are in process. We're also looking at potentially building a practice facility. We think that practice facility could be a really important part of youth hockey, as there just isn't enough. There aren't enough ice sheets
Correct.
in Maine right now, and so that's one of the things that's been a real priority. And then finally, we have a project with the University of New England where we're working on trying to enhance our data processes for identifying players and for doing a better job recruiting players back to this. How do we give Terrence and his team the resources to be better? This is a project that we're working on, and we're really excited about. So I just wanted to make sure that people know those are the priorities for this management team and for our ownership. And it's all focused on trying to make us a better part of the community, as well as, quite frankly, making the team on the ice better. And we're working hard in all those areas right now. Not necessarily things that you see day to day, but we
Right.
hope long term bring real benefits to the Maine Mariners.
Those sound all very exciting, and I think you're right. Not enough ice right now, both in the city and in the state. So, yeah, a nice new practice facility I think would be awesome for the city. We did have a number of listener questions. Just want to say thank you to everybody who responded on Facebook and X with questions. We won't have time to get to everybody. I think we've answered a few of them in this time, but I'm going to take a couple of these. First from Stacy Fournier. She asks, how about the high five tunnel? They have opened it up occasionally, but now it's $5 and you can only choose one time during the game to go down. To me, as a season ticket holder, to have to pay $5 for a night of going down into the high five tunnel is fine, but to have to pay $5 each game and have to choose a time is a little much.
Stacy, first of all, we appreciate your feedback. We've heard this from a number of people. We had some issues early in the season of just having too many people down there and having some real safety issues around the barriers and the players getting in and out. And um, we've been trying to figure out the best way to manage the high five tunnel. It is very much a work in process. Your comments and feedback are really helpful. And the team will certainly take that into consideration as we think about the right resolution of how to handle the high five tunnel. It has been a challenge for us this year. We're working hard. But the first and biggest priority is to make sure that our fans are safe and our players are safe. And that's the balancing act we're going through right now in terms of trying to figure out how exactly we handle the high five tunnel.
Very good. Very good. And from Mike Nicholas, he asking about the team. What do you say to the fans who think the Mariners' style is a bit soft and you've seen our injuries pile up? Maybe adding some toughness not only would help us, but also add some fan favorites that are missing compared to years past.
Mike, first of all, I think our team has stuck up for one another. I think that we don't let other teams take advantage of us. I also would tell you that I think Terrence has added a couple of big bodies over the last couple of weeks, and while I certainly um, don't encourage fighting. It is part of the game, and we need to make sure that we have players who stand up for one another, feel like really good teammates. I feel like we're there, but Terrence will continue to add defensemen and players who bring toughness and grit to our team.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we've definitely seen some of these new guys coming in. I think adding to that. Uh, So that is, I think, where we will end our time here today, Dexter. I want to just say thank you so much for your just willingness and your accessibility. I know the fans really appreciate hearing from you. Um, we've got 3 out of 4 points so far this weekend. Chance for 5 out of 6 against this really tough Tahoe team. So let's cheer for that today. But yeah, thank you.
Well, Ben, thank you for having me on. I always appreciate it. As I said early in the podcast, I really appreciate your support for the team and for hockey in Maine. We're really lucky to have you as part of our community, and thank you very much. And to all the Maine Mariners fans, from my family, I'd like to say Happy New Year and to a great 2025. We're looking forward to it. So thanks.
Thank you all for watching and listening. If you do like what you're hearing here, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button down below. It means a lot to me. And until next time, be kind, show love, and God bless.